Hi everyone, I am Richard, and in this video I'll be talking about the persecution of Christians in the Roman Empire. And the Roman emperor I'll be focusing on is Nero, who ruled from 54 to 68 AD. At the beginning of his reign, Nero did not persecute the Christians. He left them alone. But in 64 AD, a great fire broke out in Rome. 10 out of the 14 sections of the city were either destroyed or severely damaged. A rumor began to spread that Nero was the one who started the fire so that he could rebuild the city of Rome according to his own desires. There was no clear evidence for this, but many people believed the rumor nonetheless. Nero obviously did not like the fact that he was being blamed for the fire, so he decided to put the blame of the fire on the Christians. Many Christians happened to live in the section of the city that were not destroyed, so Nero falsely accused them of having started the fire, and then the persecutions began. Let me give you a quote from the Roman historian Tacitus, who wrote about this event. He wrote, "Consequently, to get rid of the report, Nero fastened the guilt and inflicted the most exquisite tortures on a class hated for their abominations, called Christians by the populace. Christus, from whom the name had its origin, suffered the extreme penalty during the reign of Tiberius at the hands of one of our procurators, Pontius Pilate, and a most mischievous superstition, thus checked for the moment, again broke out not only in Judea, the first source of the evil, but even in Rome, where all things hideous and shameful from every part of the world find their center and become popular. Accordingly, an arrest was first made of all who pleaded guilty. Then, upon their information, an immense multitude was convicted, not so much of the crime of firing the city, as of hatred against mankind." As you can tell, Tacitus did not know a whole lot about Christianity. All that we know is that he disliked the religion. And yet, in spite of his dislike of the religion, he still admits that it was Nero who put the blame of the fire on the Christians. The way Nero persecuted the Christians was quite brutal. Tacitus described some of this brutality in the following quote. He wrote, "Before killing the Christians, Nero used them to amuse the people. Some were dressed in furs to be killed by dogs. Others were crucified. Still others were set on fire early in the night so that they might illuminate. Nero opened his own gardens for these shows, and in the circus he himself became a spectacle, for he mingled with the people dressed as a charioteer, or he rode around in his chariot. All of this aroused the mercy of the people, even against these culprits who deserved an exemplary punishment, for it was clear that they were not being destroyed for the common good, but rather to satisfy the cruelty of one person." So as you can tell, his persecution was quite gruesome. It's important to note that this persecution did not take place throughout the entire empire. It was confined to the city of Rome. It is believed that the Apostle Paul and Peter were executed during this period of persecution. In 68 AD, Nero died, and the persecution of Christians ended temporarily. Christians would be left alone until 81 AD, when Domitian became the Roman emperor. For the next 250 years, Christianity would be an illegal religion in the empire, and Christians would continue to face persecution. But the persecution was not constant. The level of persecution depended on the emperor. Sometimes Christians were left alone, other times they were brutally persecuted. One of the main reasons why Christians were persecuted was their refusal to worship the ruling emperor. The Roman authorities believed that one of the ways to maintain unity in the empire was to require everyone to worship the ruling emperor. The Roman authorities did not care whether you actually worshiped the emperor in your heart. They did not care what your personal and private beliefs were, but they did require everyone to perform certain external acts of worship. And the most common form of worship was to burn incense before an image of the emperor. Anyone who refused to do this was accused of disloyalty or even treason. Christians refused to burn incense before an image of the emperor because of their belief that only Jesus was worthy of worship, whether internal or external acts of worship. And because of their refusal, many Christians were condemned and punished. They would either be imprisoned, tortured, or executed. Though many Christians died for their faith in the empire, their deaths did move many people who witnessed them. When people saw that these Christians were willing to die for their faith, they became intrigued by Christianity, and some even converted. So in an interesting way, persecution inadvertently contributed to the spread of Christianity in the Roman Empire.